Hey, welcome to Rock the STAAR. Yay. I'm gonna do like a quick recording of each day's slides, like what my thought process was with that, because you're probably like, she's insane. Sorry, I probably am. So I'm not gonna do it like in one thing, but I'll go through each slide and explain what's going on. And hopefully it'll answer a lot of the questions, and then we'll go from there. If you have any more questions, do not hesitate to reach out. Yeah, I know I don't talk a lot, but it's not because I'm rude. It's just I'm incredibly shy. So, but if you talk to me, I'll talk to you. Yeah, sorry. And awkward, painfully awkward. If you know me, you know how awkward I am. Very awkward. And now you're like, yes, now I won't talk to you because I can see how weird you are. So today is day one. It's the overview. It's tic-tac tally. This probably is going to be like probably one of the harder days to work through. Just with setup and getting kids to work through it. So fun. Even in the training session, a bunch of adults were like, what are you wanting us to do? So let's go. Now, one more thing I wanted to go through. For days 1 through 5, there will be 2 sets of Nearpods. The ones that I uploaded the Friday before spring break, and then the ones I'm going to upload today. The ones that I uploaded Friday before spring break, I noticed there were some spelling errors and some grammar errors. That's just going to annoy the daylights out of me. And also, yeah, I put April for the dates. I don't know where my brain was, other than I thought I was in April. Welcome to Trisha's brain. Life is great. If you ever would like to come visit my brain, I apparently am in April. Closer to summer though, right? That joke didn't land. Even in my brain. But I did fix those. You can, if you've already uploaded your stuff to Nearpod, feel free to use that, fix your date, whatever. I don't care. You're not offending me at all. But I did want to just have that fixed because it would annoy me. Like, she doesn't know how to fix her grammar. Like, so it would. So it is fixed in the updated Nearpods. The only thing you do need to do is add your name, email, phone number. If you don't know how to do that, just in your editing thing in Nearpod, you probably know how to do this, but and obviously we're not in the editing section, but in the editing section, just hit edit. You can add a box over this. Just add a box. Probably won't be able to add the exact color purple, but you can add purple or you can just add white. It doesn't really matter. And then add your name, email, and phone number. So it would be, for me, it would be Miss Smith, tsmith@lsoa.org, and my number is 974-686-9474. Yes, I have to sing that every day. It's a mental thing. Go figure. So for our warm up, I'm calling it sound check. I'm all about kitsch. Yes. You will see throughout the entire thing. It's a kitsch thing. In the entire training sessions, they gave us a lot of things they wanted us to focus on. And one of the things they wanted us to focus on and let me jump back. For the first, of course, for the first 3 days were, well, day one's not really the first part, but for the first 3-4 days were the addition and subtraction. But within that was money. But they give us star related questions, and within those star related questions, there weren't any money related questions. So I wanted to find some money related questions that could address the misconceptions, estimation things that they were talking about, and without kind of taking away from the star related stuff as well. So the best way I could fit it in there was in the sound check, the would you rather warm up. So how I saw it, and I looked at the misconceptions that were brought up, and a lot of it was with the with the actual money itself, them not knowing how to count it, knowing if it having more bills, so like having 14 ones is obviously having 5 tens is more than 14 ones, but some kids would think I would rather seeing that 14 and I would rather have 14 more than 5 tens, and not paying attention to the 5 tens. So either counting 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, and either multiplying 5 times 10 or 5, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, either doing that multiplicative thinking or repeated addition plus 10 plus 10 plus 10, or doing the same thing with the fours. So it's that, sorry, I'm trying to talk fast because I don't want these to be really long. Then I get really nervous too because I'm like, people are going to watch this. But so those are a lot of the misconceptions. So when you have this, give them like a good minute and a half, 2 minutes to just be quiet. I always set my timer in Engagely where it is just silent if I'm giving them a would you rather, where the next slide they answer in on a clapboard, not in a clapboard, but on a clapboard. Like they have like a solid, minute and a half, 2 minutes where they are absolutely silent. They're not answering in chat. If they do answer in chat, they know in advance it will be delayed, not because they don't think their answers are important or valid, but this is their time to think, and this is their classmates' time to think as well. And so that extra noise is distracting for other people. So it is a silent time. So that is kind of like our class expectation. But you do what, like, please don't think like I'm saying you have to do exactly what I'm doing. You have your own class expectations, and however you see fit. On the next slide is where they're going to answer, if it loads. They need to explain their thought process though. I turn everything else off because I have some kids who emojis. They love it, or the GIFs or GIFs. To the point of sometimes it gets slightly inappropriate. And I can always thank Christine Keys, because she is the one who found, or one of her former students, like 2 years ago, found the some of the Nearpod. It attaches to Google. If you haven't realized that, it attaches to the Google images, and some of those are totally not appropriate. So I always turn those off. You can go in and turn them on yourself, but I always do leave the recording, if they would just like to record their answer, especially for our ELL kids, or just for the ones who they just would prefer to record their answers. And then, just let a few explain their thought process. But they do need to write in a complete sentence or record their answers using a complete thought. So that's the reason why we're doing, this question is in there. It was something that we needed to have addressed. And it also kind of like really focuses in on that multiplicative thinking, repeated addition, things like that. So solid. Sorry, you're like, we got it a long time ago, Trisha. Let's go. Land the plane. So next slide, you can read that. It really just goes into what we're going to be doing over the next 2 weeks. We want it to be fun. We want it to be engaging. It will be 30 minutes. So our normal class time. Not if you feel like one thing is more important than the other, if you feel like the question sections are more important than the vocabulary or something, use your teacher discretion. I try to include everything in each slide set, but just you do you. So this week today we're doing tic-tac-tally. So the students will go to tables and play a game of tic-tac-tally-toe. Before they go, you can review the basics of tic-tac-toe. The X's and the O's are in Nearpod, drag and drop, but you also need to explain how to use the cards. However, on each card, there's a definition, but there are also visual and word clues on the cards, math word clues. They'll use to identify each word to go on the 9 concepts we will review during Rock the STAAR. So those 9 concepts are, let me go back. Those 9 concepts are fractions, multiplication, geometry, data analysis, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fraction, data analysis, geometry. We'll see when we get there. My brain is done. All right, so how the game works, just like tic-tac-toe, you'll work to get 3 in a row, but there's a twist. Each turn, your team will solve a math challenge to claim a spot on the board. When you get your answer just right, drop a card on the spot, but watch out, the other team will try to block your path to victory. So this one here is if you feel like you just need to review the game of tic-tac-toe, so maybe your students aren't familiar with it, you can have a student join you in a game of tic-tac-toe. Do that if you feel so inclined. Here is an example where you can work through a game or like 1 or 2 rounds of tic-tac-tally. So the board, it will be the same once they get to tables. This is a board, multiplication and division of whole numbers, representation and comparison of whole numbers, fractions, addition and subtraction of whole numbers, geometry, measurement, data analysis, personal finance and literacy. There we go. And numerical patterns. That is the board. And those are the 9 categories we're going to cover over these next 9 days. And then here are the X's and O's. So as you can see, there are some word clues and some picture clues. So when you send your kiddos to tables, kind of make sure they're divided into teams, and one team will be X's and one team will be O's. So now if you want to just send them in groups of 2s, that's how you decide how you want to break that up. When we did it during the conference, because we're like, I don't even remember how many grown-ups were, like there were a lot of people. Like, I think it was like 6 people in a room, so we were divided into groups of 3 or something like that. So 3 of us were X's, 3 of us were O's. And we did it in Google Slides, so the slide decks, the X's were in a group, like they were stacked on top of each other. But in Nearpod, we can't do that. So just tell them to draw from the top. And they can just decide who wants to be X's, who wants to be O's. One person once they go to tables, one person has to share their screen. So when you set up your room for math, make sure you set up table sharing, table screen sharing. That is very important. And you can set it up once classes started. It's just easier to set it up prior to class starts for the day. So once you send them to tables, make sure that they know who's going to share their screen, or they can decide once they get there. And then, as you can see, it's labeled by color. So X's are purplishly pink. No, O's are purplishly pink. X's are blues. And then they have word clues, and they also have picture clues. And so they just play until they get the whole, either they can play until they get a row filled in, just like a typical round of tic-tac-toe, or they can play until the entire board is filled. Depending on time, it's probably easier if they get one row filled. Whoever gets the first one done, have them raise their hand, and then whoever raises their hand, whichever table raises their hand first, bring everyone back and then explain, like, how did you get, what did you choose? So, like, let's try this out. So square, unit, even, odd, product, quotient. I'm going to say multiply. And it's not going to, let me wonder. Oh, maybe. I wonder if it's not letting me drag it because that's right there. Let's try that now. Yeah, I'm going to put it right there. Multiplication, and yeah, I'm going to put it there. And then area, model, array, column, row, factor. There. Now, they can stack on top of each other, so they can block each other. That's the thing. These can, and explain, they can block each other. So you might want to encourage them to, like, oh, you just blocked me. I'm going to go find something else. Well, I'm going to go down here. Oh, this looks like a fraction. Fractions. Oh, you went there. I'm going to go here. Centimeters, area, length, dimensions, perimeter. So you remind them they can stack on top of each other, things like that. Just go through all that. So table expectations, anytime they go to tables, I I've added table expectations. If you have different table expectations, just take a snip and you can always upload it to right here on your Nearpod slides because those are your table expectations. And those obviously override mine. But mine are one person will share their screen for the table and move the cards. Each person will take turns choosing a card and deciding where to place it on the board. So and that's probably not clear. So yeah, each person will take turns choosing, even though one person is sharing the screen. If Sally is sharing her screen, but Tommy isn't, but it's Tommy's turn, Tommy can say, I want 1, 2, 3, the fourth row down, and he's an X. Tommy can say, I want the fourth row down. Sally still has to move the fourth row. And he can say, I want the fourth row down. He's an X. And then he can say, I want that fourth row down on data analysis. Is that right or wrong? He doesn't. Sally might know he's right or wrong, but she still has to move that for Tommy and move on. Sally can't say you're wrong. You're right. Sally still has to move it. I think I just totally forgot the names. I hope that makes sense. And like I said, whoever gets the first row, raise your hand. And then as soon as a hand is raised, come back to bring them all back to main room. Or it might even be quicker, have them type in chat, tic-tac-tally, or table 1, tic-tac-tally, or whatever. So then you can keep track of it a lot easier than raising your hand in the chat. And, and then bring everyone back. And then just review, this is what we got for tic-tac-tally. As a whole class, discuss, was this right or wrong? Do we all agree with this? I hope that makes sense. This was probably, like, even as a bunch of teachers, we probably were like, huh? And in like the virtual setting, it was like, this is going to be a difficult one. So the exit ticket, I tried to make it very engaging, but like to get them to think about like what they were doing for the next day, or thinking about it. Not always just like, let's practice. So what is one thing in math that you feel like a total rock star in? What is one thing in math that you want to rehearse more in? Because we are a band. Our classes are bands. So, and what is one goal that you want to set today to work on for the next 9? Set today that you want to work for. What is one goal that you want to set today to work on for the next 9 days? So this is something that my class does a lot. We talk about goals, we set goals. So yeah, so that's really what we're, that's kind of like goal setting and stuff. So yeah, that's it. That is day 1, our tic-tac-tally overview. Yay. I will see you on day 2.